Welcome back to another episode of Hippie's Chopper Corner. We're on our way to Georgia. We rolling, doing a deal. I got my man Doo-Doo with me. F-Bomb. Y'all check out that shirt. Can y'all see what that shirt says?
Shut up, Hippie.
It says, shut up, Hippie.
Shut up, Hippie.
Say something to Slick.
Damn. What up, Slick? Doo-Doo. You and Repo Rod.
Repo Rod. Welcome back to another episode of Hippie's Dropper Corner. Home of the drop motorcycle. Where he drops them all the time. So what's up, man? What do you want to know?
Well, after watching...
Why are you pointing at my nuts?
I'm not.
I'm over here.
I got you. Well, hell, that ain't nothing to fucking look at.
That's that new Android. It's got that widescreen. Hey, what's up, Craig? What's up, John? Easy Co. I know y'all looking at this.
You think Easy Co watches your channel?
Them nerds don't watch me, man.
That's the real Q&A was that I had. The only question I had was, do you really think Easy Co watches?
It don't matter, man. Dickhead Custom Cycles be watching. That's all that matters. Dan Zilla, what's up, man? Shovelhead Veg, Ironhead Sally, all y'all. Texas Chopper Block, everybody. All my subscribers, Shameless, Twilight Zone, Terry Massey, Bender. That dude that shouted me out from Northern Ireland the other day.
You got folks in Ireland?
Man, yeah. I'm hippie worldwide, you didn't know? So what's up, man? What you want to know?
So doing a little Q&A today. I think some of the people who watch your channel wanted to get to know you a little bit better, so...
Motherfuckers don't want to know me, no.
I think people want to know you. They want to know a little history of Hippie. So, go way back. What originally got you into motorcycles? What made you want to...
My dad.
Your dad did?
Yeah. My dad always had bikes, and I got a brand new three-wheeler for Christmas. And all you youngsters that watch me, they used to sell this thing in the United States called a three-wheeler.
Was it dangerous?
They're dangerous. I flipped mine 2 or 3 times. My dad said the only tree out there, you drove straight into it. I did too. Drove it straight into it. Then I had dirt bikes, and when I got 13 or 14, I found the keys to my dad's bike, and I used to sneak off on his bike until the kids in the neighborhood told on me. He whooped my ass.
Rightfully so.
Rightfully so.
Would you get your kid if he did that?
And then when I was 16, I got a GS 750, I think, a Suzuki GS 750. Those were pretty fast motorcycles back in the day. Then I got a Sportster. There's a little 883. And then, let's just say I had to go out of town and work for the state for a few years. And when I got that job done, I came back. I was able to get a shovel head, and I didn't know much about wrenching on bikes back then. I couldn't keep that shovel head running. I went back out of town to work for the state again. Couldn't pay for the shovel head, lost it. And when I finally came home to work from home, let's just say, we're going up Mount Eagle Mountain, y'all. This is Mount Eagle Mountain in Tennessee. Ironhead Sally, these are the only kind of mountains we got around here. No 2,000 footers, but man, they straight up. I came back, and my dad actually had I think it was called a Boulevard. It was Suzuki. It was a cruiser type motorcycle. And for the money, that's all I could afford, but it got me back on 2 wheels. I rode it for about 6 months. Sold it, got a Yamaha Roadstar, I think. And to not be a Harley, that was probably the closest thing to a touring bike you could get.
So that Roadstar was the one that got sued by Harley, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was. But they determined you couldn't sue somebody for a sound.
Yeah.
Because it was a 45-degree V-twin engine. But I put ape hangers on it. I put street glide fairing on it. Rode it for about a year. Rat holed my money away, and then went and financed my first bike through Harley. I don't remember how many years ago that was. Rode that bike for a couple years, put about 40,000 miles on it in 2 years. traded it when they come out with that Milwaukee 8. I got a 2017 Road Glide. Kept it for a couple years. Put 30-something thousand on it. Was down at Bike Week one year in Florida. No, we were at Biketoberfest. And I traded it in on a brand new 2020. And when I rode that bike down there, I had 18-inch ape hangers on it. And I had to ride back on stock handlebars. And that was the most miserable. And we did 1,000 miles in about 18 hours, I think. We were just gas tank to gas tank, splash and go. Like, we were beating it to death. It's about 8 of us. We did it in about 18 hours. And that included a flat tire in Nashville that we repaired on the side of the interstate. And that's the bike I've got today, is my Road Glide. I would love to say I ride my choppers everywhere, but that's just not true. I do too many miles a year. I'm all over the country, from damn near to Canada, all the way down to the Gulf Coast, all the way out to Kansas. And a lot of times I only have a select amount of time to get there, so I have to pound it to get there to enjoy what I went to enjoy. I've had a few people in the comments ask me what the number 56 represents, and although I won't go into it, and it's probably pretty obvious I do ride with a particular organization. What that organization is irrelevant to this channel, simply because this is Hippie's Chopper Corner. It's got nothing to do with anything or anybody else. My views and comments are my views and comments. Mine only. They do not reflect any association I have with anything. But that is my chapter designation.
So
I'm in recovery. I'm clean and sober. I've been sober for over 13 years.
With when riding bikes, growing up riding bikes and getting older riding bikes, do you have a certain, what's the favorite bike you've ever owned?
My Panhead.
The Panhead, that's all. I remember when you got that bike, you were super excited for it.
Yeah, my Panhead. It's a 64 original engine. It's a 64 transmission in it. I don't know if they were born together or not, but it is a 64 transmission. It's a 64 FL. It's in a early Shovelhead frame, because there's no numbers on it. It's somebody hardtailed. It was a pretty cool bike when I first got it. I got it from another clubber, a guy in another club. I was at one of their events, and he had it. He offered it to me for a certain price. I was back within 48 hours to buy the bike. He had it set up kind of California style.
Yeah.
Really skinny. It had some little Z-bars on it. It has spool hub front wheel, no front brake. It had 6-over front end on it. Somebody had shaved and polished the lowers. It was a really nice front end. Little solo seat, little wassail tank, and it was painted up with his club colors on it. When I say his club colors, I mean the particular colors of his club, not like any of his insignia or nothing. I stripped it down just to the frame and the engine and put it back together the way I wanted it, with that Hippie stank on it. And that's the version of the Panhead I have today.
So in the last...
Look at this asshole.
Well, we're not going to look at him. We're going to let this guy slide. He made us hit our brakes, but...
About to run him over.
So, as long as I've known you, I've known you to tinker on bikes, whether it's doing oil changes or keeping everything sketchy in your shop. I've always gone to you for advice on building bikes. Who did you go to for advice, and who did you learn from or look up to as far as building bikes goes to, and just wrenching?
Before I get into that, I've had somebody ask me why I refer to my bikes as sketchy. Well, you can thank F-bomb for that.
Yeah, my bad. You're welcome.
He'd come over to the shop while I was building one, and he's like, man, Hippie does some sketchy ass shit. Because it started out Hippie Speed Shop. And my motto was, I ain't got much of a shop, and you'll probably leave with less speed than what you came with. And then once I started the YouTube channel, I switched it to Hippie's Chopper Corner. And shout out to Cody's Chopper Corner. I think it's kind of gone defunct, but he was out before me. I didn't know it. I found him a few months later. Good channel, but man, he hadn't put any content out in a long time, so I didn't know there was another Chopper Corner out there when I chose that name. But back to your question, I have a brother named Big Sexy, R.I.P. Big Sexy. His birthday was November 3rd. I love you, brother. He got killed back in 2021, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, July 15th of 2021. He had been wanting a Crossbones, and that was a really cool soft-tail Springer that Harley only made for like 4 years, I think. And he had been wanting one for a while, and he rat-holed his money, and he searched, and he was the most frugal,
Oh yeah, penny pincher.
Jewish-ass dude I ever knew, man. Like, oh my God, he got the best deals because he was the tightest person you'd ever meet. And he got that bike for a really good deal. And he started tricking it out because he had a really cool road glide. And but he wanted that bike, and he had ordered some upsweep pipes for it because he had a really nice shop too. And he put those pipes on it, and he was test riding it when a truck came into his lane and hit him head on and killed him instantly. Huge loss, man. Huge loss.
Yeah.
That tore a lot of people up, man. That hurt a lot of people. Still hurts a lot of people today. He's really missed, brother. Well known in our organization all across this country, man. People knew him everywhere. But anyway, he went to motorcycle tech school. He went to welding school, and he learned a trade. And he opened up a shop, and he serviced a lot of bikes. He did tires and brakes, and hell, he'd build engines and whatnot. About 10 years ago, I got a desire to want to get another old bike. I told him about this Shovelhead that I had one time, and back then you couldn't really pick a Shovelhead up for less than $6,000-$7,000. You can probably find one for $4,500, $5,000 today if you look around hard enough. It's kind of a soft market on Shovelheads right now, but he mentioned maybe finding an old Ironhead, and we found one. We found a 76, and he lived about 2 hours away from me, and he found the bike over near him, and the guy was wanting $2,000 for it, and he said he thought we could get it cheaper than that. So I went to his bank the next day, and I deposited money into his bank account, and he went over and looked at it, wrote it, and got the bike for $1,400. And we'd never hardtailed a frame or any of that, so we just started researching back then, because there wasn't a lot of companies making hardtail kits back in 2000. What would that have been? 14?
Yeah.
Back in 2014, 2015. TC Brothers made them. Hafley, I think, was still making them. Hafley Brothers, which I believe Throttle Addiction or TC Brothers bought the rights to that one, but this was long before that. I don't even know if Throttle Addiction was out back then. It might have been before they become a company. But we found a company out of Ohio called Hammer in Hand Custom Motorcycle Parts. And he built hardtail kits, some of the best hardtail kits you could get, man. They don't make them anymore. They only do ornamental steel now. They don't do motorcycle parts anymore. And we hardtailed that bike and made a cool ass little bobber out of it, man. And we learned a lot of what not to do when we built that bike. The next bike we did, I bought a 74 Shovelhead. When I say basket case, it wasn't just beat up and ratty parts, but everything was in milk crates, literally. The motor was bolted into the frame. It had a back wheel and a Super Glide just front end on it. Nothing else. Nothing. There was no push rods. The lifters weren't in it. I believe the cam was in it, but it didn't have lifters, it didn't have push rods, it didn't have an intake, none of that.
Did it have lights?
Huh?
Did it have lights?
No.
Did it have brakes?
Didn't have nothing.
You know, when I say you buy clapped out bikes, that's what I mean, man. You buy clapped out bikes. These projects that look like they can't go nowhere, but you might manage to go to beautiful bikes with them.
Well, those are just quote unquote, not when I say barn finds, they weren't nothing special. They were just shovel heads that had sat for 20 years.
Yeah.
And never had anything done to them. And that first one was a 1980 FLT. The compensator had blew out on it. When I bought it, it didn't have a primary on it. It didn't have an intake on it. No carburetor, no nothing. And I didn't even know if the bike would run.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you if it had compression because it was a rubber-mounted 5-speed transmission. That was Harley's first year to do that. And that transmission bolted to the engine, and then it had a mount back here that went through the swing arm, and it all moved as one piece. So there was no way to put a kicker on it because there's not a fifth mount for the kick under the kicker arm, and so I couldn't turn it over nothing. And that bike was clapped out. It was missing side covers and all kind of shit.
Yeah.
I put a belt drive primary on it. New starter, new solenoid. I rewired it. I got an intake and carburetor and put on it. And I got a little short on my channel from the first time I fired it up. And when the oil light went out, I got all excited. I was like, oh, the oil pump's working.
I remember, yeah.
Yeah.
So that bike that you were talking about with Big Sexy,
The blue one.
yeah,
The 74.
is that the first video you ever had on this channel?
Yes. Yes. That's me kickstarting that video. Kickstarting that bike in front of my shop.
Yeah.
That was about a year after we did that bike. But I wound up selling that bike that year to one of my brothers that lives in Sweden. And I took that bike to Charleston, put it on a container ship, and sent it to Sweden. So I can technically say I got a bike I built in Sweden. That's pretty cool.
So is that the bike that got you kind of on fire for building bikes?
No, that first Ironhead was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew as soon as we finished that one, I was ready to start another one.
Yeah.
But back then, I would have to sell a bike to have the money to start another one. And so I sold it, and I wanted to do another Sportster chopper. And this is all before Sportster choppers became popular.
Yeah.
And I got a 93 1200 that was pretty tricked. The dude that I'd bought it from had really tricked that bike out. It was a good looking bike too. That's back when guys would bob the rear fender and put a 6-over front end on it and call it a build. I built that bike. Oh yeah, you sure did, didn't you? We hardtailed it. I put a 2-under front end on it, got it way down, put a little Springer on it. We built the King Queen seat and put on it, sissy bar. Big Sexy built the exhaust for it. Fuse Bike Art, shout out to my brother. He painted it. And I traded that bike at 1500 for the Shovelhead with the coffin tank on it.
That beautiful bike.
Yeah, I've only got a couple of shorts. I don't have any real video of it, but I got a couple of shorts of it. And I built that one by myself. No, me and Big Sexy built that one there too. I did a lot of the fab work at my shop, and then took it to his shop, and we finished it at his shop.
Yeah.
And then the year he got killed, he had built a Shovelhead. Beautiful, beautiful motorcycle. I may create a community post with a picture of it. And we were at a bike show in Wisconsin, and he won 3 trophies there. Now, I was supposed to have brought my Shovelhead, and I wound up selling it about a month before that particular show because I needed to buy this truck right here. So I sold that bike and my truck that I had to buy this new truck. And he won 3 trophies that night. And I remember telling him, you know, if I'd brought my Shovelhead, you wouldn't have won all them trophies, bro. You know that, right? And he'd be like, shut the F up, Hippie. Shut the F up. This is my night. And he was right. That was his night.
Yeah.
I wasn't supposed to have that Shovelhead there. He was supposed to win all 3 of those trophies that night.
Hey, even if you won, he still would have won.
He
would have had it.
Yep. Yep. But he got killed about a week and a half after that.
Yep.
And I'm so glad he got to experience. I talked to his wife the night before, his widow, a couple nights ago, and she said, you know, the night he won those trophies, he called me up just so happy. He said, I can't even get back to my seat every time I turn around, walk back to my seat. He said, they're calling my name again.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember you couldn't wipe that smile off his face when he won them. So
Yeah.
Well deserved, and I know that he meant a lot for building bikes for you.
And he's the reason I do what I do.
Yeah.
I learned a lot. I spent countless hours and hours in his shop with him, learning, spending the night at his house, you know, I had my own room there, basically. His daughter would move out of her room for me to sleep there every time I came.
Yeah, and y'all be playing jokes on anybody who's sleeping on the couch over there.
I farted on his head one morning. He slept on the couch. I farted on his head, and man, we like to get in a fight over there.
It's
like
just
6:30 in the morning. He wakes up just yelling. And Big Shay's like, "Man, y'all cool out. My old lady's still asleep." I'm like, well, damn, he acted all brawdy just because I farted on his head. He goes, I don't like to be woken up like that.
I ain't even had time to pray that morning. You just wake up with a fart.
Oh, you can tell. He had not got with God. Yeah, he was ready to fight.
And he goes, dang, man, what's wrong with you? You ain't pray yet? So, we go,
What time are we at?
we're at 21 minutes in.
Right.
So
About 5 more minutes, man.
So, now that you, had started building these bikes, and I know you'd always watch these YouTube videos, and everybody should be somewhat YouTube certified on how to do things they like to do. Who are some, inspirations and motivations and teachers on YouTube that made you want to start a channel or helped you along the way? And I know one of them.
Well, first and foremost, Slick and Slickhead Custom Cycles. That is one solid dude right there. We've never met each other face to face, but I can tell you what, we have built a kindred relationship with one another. He's a solid dude. I met his best friend. His best friend was passing through my town, and I stopped and met up with him. Shout out Repo Rod. You owe me a steak. So do you, Matty O. Both owe me a steak. And that was cool to get to hang out with some of his friends. But we're going to link up next year. We're going to collab together for sure. The channel that got me into YouTube motorcycles was the Easy Code, was Craig and John.
Yeah, and they watch your videos?
Hell yeah, you know they watch me. I'm hippie worldwide. All they do is sit around watching me.
So,
ask me where we're going.
Well, I think people might know where we're going.
We're going to Georgia.
We're going to Georgia right now, but I don't know what we're doing. We got this rinky-dink little trailer behind the truck.
Hey, that was big, sexy little rinky-dink trailer. It's been all over the country.
Well, you can't see it.
That little trailer's been to Wisconsin, Georgia.
So, when it comes to future projects, what's this next build you're trying to work on? This Shovelhead that you be taking apart and putting back together and taking apart.
Well, that's the thing with building a chopper, man. You don't just build it one time.
Yeah.
You're going to build it a multitude of times. You're going to put it together and take it apart several times to make sure shit's working. And the next time so my viewers know the bike that I'm currently building. The next time you see it, it's a naked frame. I done stripped it down to the frame again. I still don't have the oil bag, the exhaust, the back brake, the foot controls. I'm still missing stuff. And instead of buying that, I'm spending my money on something else today.
So, I'll get away from necessarily building bikes and more about riding bikes. What is your favorite ride?
90 and 100 miles an hour.
No, the speed limit. We might do 71 every now and then.
If I'm in a school zone.
Your favorite ride, what route do you like to take? And
Anywhere in the mountains.
Anywhere in the mountain. You like them swifty switchbacks and
That's what we got out here on this part of the country. We got switchbacks that just you lay that bike down, straight floorboards, exhaust.
You know, actually, right here, the first time I ever rode with with this exit,
we were on this hill, right here, 158. We had to get out right there.
So I was on an old Kawasaki Vulcan 900, and we just come off that mountain, and
traffic had stopped right here.
And I tried to shift down, and all of a sudden I looked down, and I just had this little dangly little.
Well, let me back up. It was me, him, and Big Sexy. And when we ride in a pack, we use hand signals. And everybody in the organization knows what a particular hand signal means. And he was brand new, never ever ridden with us before. He wasn't a member of our organization or nothing. He was a guest. And he was going to come and see what we were all about. So he left Dixon to go to Georgia with us that weekend. And we told him, a couple of the hand signals. And we said, if your bike, something happens to your bike, stick your hand straight on down. Do this right here so bikes around you will know you got a problem, clear a hole, and let you get off.
Yeah.
Well, we had stopped dead in some traffic. And when we got ready to take off again, we just started easing forward. Well, I looked in my rear view, and it's about 50 yards back. He's still sitting there, and he's waiting for me. Wait, don't leave me. Don't leave me.
They look so far away, but really they wasn't that far.
Yeah, we realized something was wrong with his bike. His damn gear shifter had vibrated loose. We had to go to this truck stop over here and buy a set of wire pliers or something. We fixed it. And you know what? What does every chopper owner, mechanic have? Zip ties.
Baby.
Baling wire. Because you saved me one time.
Yep.
Coming back from a run, I rode one of my choppers to a camp out, and it was the coffin tank chopper, the one that had that coffin tank on it.
Yeah. With
the electric start, and it had a front brake on it. But when I got that front end, it was already set up with a front brake, so I just ran it. But the heim joint, the piece that holds the caliper in place, we were at a red light. We went to take off. That heim joint snapped, and when it did, there was nothing to keep that bracket held in place, so it was just
that brake just swinging
like a pendulum on the rotor, and it snatched the brake line out of the master cylinder, and it went flapping around. I thought I broke a throttle cable. I didn't realize till I felt that vibration in the front end, and I went to pull my brake in, and it just went in, and fluid shot everywhere. And we pulled over on the side of the road, and he had some zip ties with him, and we were able to pull the caliper back up and zip tie it to the front end to get me back home. And it got me home.
Yeah. So just remember, trusty dusty zip ties and wire and
duct tape.
Some duct tape can never hurt.
It don't hurt to carry spark plugs with you, an extra set of points and condenser, maybe a new fuel filter, a quart of oil.
Yeah.
Now my panhead don't leak any oil. That's one thing I don't have to worry about. It don't leak oil.
So we're at about 28 and a half minutes. So you got any final words or closing thoughts or inspiration for anybody watching? If
Just
anybody's stuck around.
To everybody watching the channel, we're coming up on 1,500 subscribers. Hey, congratulations to Slick. He broke 2,000 subscribers a few days back. I'm stoked for him. He's got a 64 panhead over in his shop that he's working on, and we were on the phone going back and forth, digging through our manuals, figuring out the lifters in that bike he had, because it gets confusing on the motorbike sometimes. Get out of my way, dude. Damn. Were you in a school zone? Freaking Florida. But that's about it, man. I hope somebody watches this video and it don't bore y'all too much, but we'll put another video out for the surprise. Tune in again for Hippie's Chopper Corner, home of the sketchy chopper. Keep them sketchy all the time.